Welcome back to another video. In this episode of the Thomas Mattia podcast, I'll be discussing 3 of the most important life-changing things I learned within journaling for 195 days. Today will be the 195th days that I plan to continue. You can see here, went through one journal, and I'm currently into the next one. I'll be talking about the benefits of this, all the hidden secrets and what people don't tell you about journaling, and the 3 biggest things. Stick around to learn what these are. One of the most important things I learned from journaling for 195 days straight and consistently is quite shocking, honestly, when you begin to realize that we are super unreliable. And this is honestly one of the biggest lessons I think I've seen. Who am I to be talking because I'm only 18? But for me, I think this is something that you should learn the earlier the better, because you can find through journaling how unreliable you are. Because in your journal, what I like to do is I journal at night, and I like to say some goals for the next day. And you can do a to-do list for the next day, or you can just write on your expectations of what you did do the next day. And you can find more times often than not, you won't be completing this. And what is a very important skill to realize is you can analyze all the data from you journaling, and you can look at the statistics of statistically how productive are you each day. One of the easiest examples of this is through sleeping. Lately, I've added the additions to my journal where I would enter the time I woke up and the time I went to bed. So next time you're saying, oh, I want to go to bed at 10 p.m., you can look throughout the past 6 months of your entire life, and you can see, have I ever done that? And if you haven't, that really says something. And it shows you if you went to bed, let's say at this time yesterday, let's say 11:20 p.m., then you can know realistically what's the earliest time you can go to bed at and what time you often go to bed at. Because surprisingly, regardless of the intention, most of the times you end up going to bed at around the same time because of your patterns. It's just something I learned that's very important from journaling, and that's just the first of the 3 things I'm going to get into this episode. Now, before we get to the second thing on journaling, I just want to mention that here, in the process of making some hats, Thomas Bottia hats, make sure to go like, comment, and subscribe. What colors would you like to see? These hats will only go live once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So go subscribe right now, because you could be one of the people to make that happen. On this channel, I'm all about learning new things, exploring life together, finding out if we truly are awake in today's world, and seeing what are the things we can do, exploring together, books, all sorts of content, and most importantly, tying in some Christian elements into all of this, which is another big factor of the first point. The second most important thing I learned from journaling for 195 days straight is this. You begin to notice what you notice. And this here can really improve your quality of life, because as a good friend, Ethan, once said on a former podcast episode, one of the true measures of gratitude is be able to stop in the moment that the good things are happening and realize that the good things are happening. Ground yourself, use your 5 senses. Look around, smell, taste the air, hear it, feel the moment, take it in, because often we get caught up in the negative and keep dwelling on the negative thought, which makes it more negative for us. So you can avoid this by, when you're noticing what you're noticing, write it down from a grateful perspective. For example, let's say hypothetically that you really wanted, let's bring up the NBA draft. You really wanted to be signed to the Mavericks because you're Cooper Flag. And I don't watch NBA, by the way. I just saw this on the news. Let's say you had another team in mind. You didn't get in, but you got into the Mavericks. Write that down on the good side. Write down each moment in its details with using the five senses. I challenge you to do this right now. Stop what you're doing and write down a short sensory poem just describing this moment that you are now. What you're seeing, feeling, hearing, smelling, tasting. And you'll start to see when you're doing that, you're going to begin to realize that you're blinking right now. Now you're breathing through your nose. And you can hear that little sound, that little hint of white noise in the background. And through beginning to notice what you notice, you truly start to begin to live life. And this brings me into the third and most important part of what I learned in my 195 days of learning how to journal is you learn how to appreciate life. Now, what does this mean though? Because we can say that, we can say all of these useful things about journaling, but what does it mean to learn how to appreciate life? Well, it's very simple. This ties in all of the other points by learning how to be realistic from the first point because we are very unreliable. More unreliable than we think because of our own natural biases. And then the second point, learning how to notice. Because by learning how to notice, we're essentially learning how to think. Because one of the best activities a journal can be used for is go throughout your day and your problems and be introspective. Start to think and put it all out on paper. Because when you go to bed the next day, then when you wake up, you can be a fresh mind. And when you go to bed, everything can be perfect. Because you have dumped out all of the contents, all of the stress in your mind. Obviously, you can't do all of that because some of that needs to be done through Jesus Christ. So make sure to pray and do whatever you need in that aspect. But journaling in itself is also a great practice. Now, you learn how to appreciate life because through tying in the 2 points of learning how to think, notice what you're noticing, and realizing you're unreliable and being realistic, you're appreciating life because you understand that even though you have all these dreams and aspirations, and this is what you're working towards, that is not your life. Your life is your day to day, whether you like it or not. You wake up 6 a.m., go to work. You wake up 6 a.m., go to school. You wake up 2 p.m., do nothing all day, scroll on your phone. You begin to realize the days that you're living and you begin to live more. You're living more because you're realizing that you're living. Imagine all of these 195 days that have gone by and you didn't write down any of it. How much of that would you have remembered? Now, all you have to do is simply go pick up your book, open any page, and look at what your troubles and tribulations were. You can look back and you can see from 3 months ago, yourself stressing over the exam. You're saying, oh, God, please help me. And then you say, oh, I'm having this problem, this relationship problem, and this and that, and this and that. And then you can see if you really got out of it. And that can also start to strengthen your spiritual life because you can actually document your prayers through. Some people do a dedicated prayer journal, but you could just write down what you pray for. And yeah, you really start to appreciate life because you're actually living, because you are now awake and are cognizant of what is happening around you. And that is why the word of today's episode is intention. You need to walk around with intention around in your life. As seen in the prior episode here, I'll dive into the science that shows you how doom scrolling is literally killing you. Scientifically, papers have been studied. And the reason for this is because it is one of the most unintentional actions. So make sure to bring intention in your day-to-day life. Because even if, as discussed before, you can't be reliable, you're going to slowly increase over time. What was the saying? 1% each day is 37.1 times better a year. If you walk with intention in your life, knowing what you do, this sense of purpose, then no matter what you do, you're going to feel every moment of it. So you're going to be essentially living more. You're prolonging your life because all of these memories, all of these days aren't just going to flash you by. You're going to have to take some time at the end of the night before winding down to think about and recap every single day what happened. And this also has great memory benefits. Have a great night. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you so much if you watch to the end of this video. Go subscribe. This releases at 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. Have a wonderful and blessed day. I'll see you guys in the next one.